is that that is a script, right? Even though I don't write scripts. I used to get in trouble. Well, not trouble. I get people in trouble. I'd have telemarketers call me, and I could tell they were reading a script, and I'd be going, "Excuse me, are you reading a script to me? Do you know that sucks? You know how bad you are?" And I give them a lesson on not reading scripts. When I used to open telemarketing centers, this is a real quick story, and then we'll go into this. So I remember this one company I was opening as a lawn care company, and for the past 6 months, they did $30,000 in sales with their 20-person telemarketing center. So I went in there the first day, and they spent $100,000 having a consultant come in and do all the scripts and stuff. I went in there, and in the first day, I made all the telemarketers, there's 20 of them, turn around, grab their scripts, and rip them up. And the guy almost fired me. But we did, in the next 6 months, we did $900,000 in business by internalizing and using their own personalities. So scripting is all about internalizing. If you're going to be a script person, which a lot of people are, you have to internalize them or they don't work, right? So let's go ahead now. We'll start off with Mr. Lawson, since you just had a grandbaby and he's a proud grandpa.
Well, actually, why don't you guys go? I'm pulling up some scripts that I wanted to share my screen, but let me do that. So
Okay,
somebody else go and I'll come back.
All right, you want to go ahead, Lurchy?
Okay, I'll come off mute. You know what? You're so right on point there, Mitch. Life is a script. Yep. And we've had all this discussion before. A lot of us are all pushing for social media, but you notice what's being taught out there? You can't be somebody else on social media. Take what they're doing and tweak it to you. Take the conversation and do it to you. We've all said this before, there's a different conversation for a buyer, seller, and an investor, depending on each market, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Especially, I know Matt's thrown that out there, but I'm going to give the basic one that I use no matter who it is, what it is, and where it's at. I was actually sitting with one of our newer agents yesterday, and then their eyes opened up. They're like, it's so simple. Write this down. And I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I live by this. Story. STORY. If you remember that, and what I'm going to say afterwards, life's easy in talking to somebody. All you got to do is they say, hey, by the way, how's your real estate? Hey, by the way, we're going to sell our house. Great. Tell me your story. And they're like, what do you mean? What's your present situation? What's your situation? So S is situation. Where are you presently in where you're at? 2, what is your target? What are we aiming for? Where are we going for? If we don't have a target, there's no reason. You got to have a plan. You have a plan to win a tournament. You have a plan to go to the moon. You have a business plan. You have a plan on your health. You have your routine. What's the target? Now that we're sitting here and we understand those things, between the two of us, let's talk about the objections. It's not all about me. I want them involved because they have ownership in it then. What's going to hold us up from selling the house? We have location, condition, terms, agent, price. We already picked agent. That's me. So let's talk about the other 4. So again, what are the objections? Okay, how do we solve them? R is response. How do we respond to the objections? And after we go through the STOR, we come up with the Y, which is either the yield or the yikes in the end. What happens if we do it and we win? And what happens if we don't? What's the pain? Those things right there is basic how I get everybody to open up. It gets them involved, has them with their ownership. I feel where they're at. You're hearing their story, and nobody else in the industry is doing that when they go in on a listing or sitting with a buyer. Remember, the world's changing. You're going to really have to get buyers to want to choose you to work with you as buyer agency as the world's changing with NAR and all that stuff. Who knows what that's going to be, but that's the system. That's my biggest script all the time. And the other one that you guys always said, so why are you here at my open house? Or why did you call me to sell your house? What is that thing that made you think about making this decision or being curious? Those are my 2 best lines, and those are the 2 lines I start every conversation.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and that's the thing. You don't have to have a billion scripts, right? You don't have to have a billion lines. It's whatever lines work for you, right? Go ahead, Dave.
No, just talk. Bottom line is get the information and then have a flowing conversation and be transparent around it.
What a concept, right?
Yeah, right? Something new.
Okay. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we
Okay.
can.
So I built my whole business and I can't agree with what the little bit that's been said before. Scripts are just words. Every one of us have scripts. We say the same things over and over and over in our business every day. The difference between somebody that is okay, good, or great is when they internalize them. And internalizing the scripts is the key. So you can go and look at Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry or Excellium or anybody's scripts, but they're just words on a paper. Until you can communicate what you're trying to do and find out from the clients, it's never going to work. And that's why I talk about question selling and asking questions and asking more questions on the questions and so on. And so the thing is, so one of the things that we like to do on the Lawson team is we just come up with a lot of sound bites, right? So if you see this, we talk about mindset. I think if you're not confident, you don't have the mindset for this business right now, you're in trouble. So that's the first thing to work on, right? And interest rate. So instead of, having a whole script on it, here's some things that you can say, right? Once rates come back, you'll absolutely see more buyer demand and more competition of interest rates, blah, 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 right? Less buyer competition now means that the rates are higher, right? I'm gonna figure out how to, because I'm a millennial ×2, right, Cameron? I'm gonna figure out how to give you all these scripts. I'm gonna figure this out. So before this is over, I'm gonna do it. But the thing is, and the other thing is, you know what I have in front of me at all times? My just the facts, right? Why would you list with me, right? This is just a reminder, right? Why would you list? Because of our experience matters, our white glove service, our exclusivity, what, blah, 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 right? You don't have to memorize, but you have to internalize, and there's a difference. Because what you want to do is you want it to be conversational. You're just having a conversation. I remember 20 years ago, Mike Ferry scripts, and I read them and I'm like, man, these are great questions, but they don't really I don't get the answers very good. Cameron, do you want to sell your house? When do you want to sell it? Where are you going? Why do you need to be there? When you're going, do you need this? What are you doing there? Right? Those are two they're not conversational, they're confrontational, right? So you just have to add words. You want to here's some words, write these down, everybody. I'm curious, where do you want to go, Cameron, when you sell your house? Or would you mind if I asked you, how much you owe on the property? There's little things like that you can do. Pete Middleton gave me a book called, it's the questions for realtors, right?
The book.
There's 21 chapters, and it is so good. I was looking it's in my other office because I wanted to share the book. But anyway, I heard something at EXPCon when they were talking about the business right now. I truly believe, every gang, that we are in a skills-based business right now. And it doesn't matter what if you're trying to bring on agents to EXP, or if you're trying to list a property, or you're working on a buyer, that what you say matters, right? That's the book. And when you know what to say, and write this down, you only have two choices. Number one, you can just make a lot more calls and contacts. Or number two, you can get better at your skills and make way less. So do you want to put in some time to get better first? And then for the rest of your career, you'll make less phone calls, right? So there you have it. And then this is a chart that I love to show people. So, you know, Mitch, based on this chart, if there's another recession, what do you think home prices are going to do?
They're going to go up, right?
Yeah. So that means it's probably a good time to buy real estate right now. Mitch, if interest rates come down, do you think there'll be more or less competition in the market?
Oh, it'll be just like last time with you can't buy a house for list price anymore.
Right. And if there's more competition, how much more do you think you're going to have to pay over full price if the interest rates come down?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Then, you know, I have a saying, Mitch, let's marry the home and date the rate, right? We're marrying the house. If you buy this house, how long are you planning on being in it?
10 years.
10 years, right? How long, if you pay a high interest rate, how long are you going to keep that loan?
Until the interest rates go down.
Yeah, and interest rates, Mitch, interest rates, how did interest rates go below 3%? I know you know so much about this. I know that you know that the interest rates under 3% were because the government artificially brought them down there, correct?
Right. Yeah. We've never seen that before.
You already know that, right? You also know, Mitch, that the government is putting the interest rates right up here, right? Do you think either of those is sustainable?
Nope.
No. So what's going to happen? They're going to meet back in the middle, right? Here's another thing that we say, you know, okay, a year ago or 18 months ago, if you had $1 million property, how much would you have to pay for it? It's like $1.2 million, right? That because there was 5 or 10 or 20 offers on it. Today, you can buy that same house for $950,000. That's a $250,000 difference that you can buy now and save $250,000. And you know what the best part is? Well, not the best part. The problem is you're going to pay an extra $1,000 a month in your interest rate. Nobody wants that. But if you save $250,000, that, you know, at $1,000 a month, you break even in so many years, right? So it's a way better time to buy a home now than it was a year and a half ago, right?
Let me give you, can I give you an objection to that?
Sure.
So, but what happens if the rates go up?
If the
If
rates,
I buy my house at 1 million now, and the rates go up to, you know, my first house I bought was 14%. So what if they go up to 14%, and now my $1 million house that I just paid $1 million for goes down to what, 700?
well, it's possible. But the problem is the only time is right here in 2008. And what happened in 2008, basically the government has made it so that should or couldn't ever happen again.
Right.
Right. And the other thing.
Can I just say one thing there? I apologize to cut in. Mitch, I have had that objection obviously multiple times. We're in a possible facing downward market. The response to that is I agree. It could go down to 700, but you did say earlier, right, that you're going to be holding this for 10 years. They say yes. You then draw out a 10-year diagram from 2008 to 2018, and they would be positive again. And that is how I would handle that objection of, well, what if it goes down? It could, but earlier you did say you're going to be here for 10 years. Right, great. And then obviously move forward. But I apologize, David, I didn't want to cut in there, but that was just what I thought.
But anyway, I want now I'm ready to learn from everybody else. So I'm going to turn it over to the next person.
And their interest rates looks like a steal at that point.
Right.
I mean, they still might not be happy with their monthly payment. That's, I think, the biggest challenge that they will be facing. But if they compare them to the rates, they'll be like, well, wow, I'm doing
Yeah.
pretty good potentially.
My first house was 14%, and we were really excited because it just came down from 16%. All right, next up is Mr.
Yeah, but
Batty.
just so here's the number, gang, 250 months. If you pay $1,000 more per month, it takes 250 months for you to be at zero or break even with a $250,000 discount. That's
Right.
why it's so much better to buy right now, right?
It's great stuff.
Yeah,
Love it.
the other thing that I would add to that, Mitch, it sounds like you were calling on me, yes, so I'm gonna go ahead.
Yep. You're right back. Yep.
Morning, everybody. Yeah, the other thing is in most markets around the country, whether you're in Park City or San Diego or wherever, rents are insanely high, and that's probably not going to change. And the thing that I always mention to sellers, because that's primarily who I talk to on a daily basis, is the market goes in cycles. So if you're going to be in a house for 10 years, right, or longer, most people say, once I buy again, I'm never moving, et cetera. They're going to take me out in a box and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We go in cycles. And so, yeah, the market goes up, the market sometimes goes down, but it always comes back, and it always comes back higher than where it was before. And rents, for example, here in San Diego, I kind of shudder every time I have a seller that says, yeah, I want to sell the house. And then we're just going to go rent for a while. And because I know when they get out there and see what they get for the rent, talk about sticker shock, So there's a lot of conversations we can have with sellers with buyers as to why it makes sense to buy. What I wanted to mention, I'm not huge on scripts. I guess when I first got in the business, I did go off scripts. But the important thing is you do want to internalize them. I'm more into kind of bullet points. So I think the really important things, number one, as we all know, we're in a contact sport. You've got to talk to people on a daily basis. You cannot be a secret agent. The important thing is when you get in a conversation, whether you're talking to an expired listing, a for sale by owner, or just a seller that's potentially interested in selling, ask a lot of questions, make it all about them. People love to talk. The goal of every conversation over the phone is to get a face-to-face meeting. Really, really important. I'm still taking listings over Zoom on occasion, which I love doing, but I also, would prefer to get in front of them. So ask a lot of questions. When you get a chance to talk, you want to take that time to tell success stories, right? We use this exact selling technique with a seller last weekend. We had 3 offers on the house, and we bid the price up by $30,000, and we were already listed at a very top dollar price. This was a house that they had sat on the market for 90 days with their previous agent and did not sell. So what I'd like to do is just, set up a time when you're available. I could do it this afternoon, or I could do it tomorrow morning, whenever you're free, and come out and just sit down with you for 15 or 20 minutes and show you what we can do for you to get your home sold. The other thing is, no matter what kind of a script you want to use, you've got to have something that makes you different, right? So we call it a unique selling proposition. If we're talking about sellers, what makes you different than the other agents that they may be talking with, right? Are you going to guarantee their home sold in 29 days, or you'll sell it for free? Are you going to guarantee it's sold in one weekend? No signs, no open houses, no multiple days of showings, right? Sell it in one weekend, no fuss, no muss. Are you going to guarantee, 3 competing cash offers within 72 hours, which is what we can do with express offers? So you've got to be offering something that sets you apart from the competition. Any kind of marketing that we all do works, whether it's, social media, YouTube, TV ads, direct mail, whatever. It's getting in front of a prospect. If you're not getting a response, it's that your offer is not compelling enough. So it's really critical, whether you're going after buyers or whether you're going after sellers, that you have a compelling, unique selling proposition. And I've experimented with a million different ones over the years, from, your home sold in X amount of days, or I'll sell it for free, or I'll pay you $1,000, or if I don't sell your home, I'll step in and buy it myself. If you buy a home through me, we have a a guarantee that if you don't like the house, we'll either buy it back or sell it for free within 12 months. So you've got to have a unique selling proposition that makes you different. Really, really important to get into, to internalize whatever script you want to use and just get into a conversation with people and build rapport, because people work with people they like. Yes, it's important that you offer a unique selling proposition, but people at the end of the day will set up appointments and meet with people and sign with people who they like. So you can never forget how important it is to build rapport with people.
100%. It's all about rapport, right? I mean, look at this. The only reason why I was so successful in real estate because I was funny, not because of my beautiful looks. Although 80-year-olds would disagree with that. Brian, where are you, buddy? There you are. Brian, you're up, man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna echo the same thing. So I wrote an acronym like story that Mr. Lurch has there. I have one for this exact topic, the script. My acronym for script is successfully communicating reliable information people trust. That's the word script. I did not like scripts. I didn't want to be canned. I didn't want to be a Mike Ferry guy, even though I went to Mike Ferry and Tom Ferry and Brian Buffini and all these guys. And I actually internalized almost everything I ever heard. And then I switched it up inside of me to come out of me to sound as if I was very unique. Right. So here's what I can tell you with a lot of training in this topic. Matt was onto something there. I flip the script and I go after trust first, because rapport comes with trust, but trust doesn't always come with rapport. So if people like you and they don't hire you, they were missing a trust factor. Trust is a little bit more important because then you can build rapport later. So trust comes from me successfully communicating. So people will trust me if what I'm saying to them is you can Google it and yeah, wow, he was right, or this or that. So the one thing that buyers and sellers do not understand that we all understand and we work with on a daily basis is the market is actually never ready, you guys. You, the buyer, you, the seller, you have to be ready for the market you're stepping into. And you can't tell them that in that way. You just have to realize that they don't know what they don't know. And it's our job is to help get them to be a 10. If they're a buyer today, if they're going to be a buyer today, that conversation that David was having with Mitch and them, that buyer today, if they're a 10 buyer, then the circumstances that is around the market won't affect them if they're really a 10, because they're buying a house at a time where it makes total sense financially for them. And that conversation about 10 years, if there's no exit strategy, there's never really a time you have to sell. There's a great time to sell maybe, or there's a great time to leverage and buy again. But if you're a 10 buyer, you just ride out the storm. How many people own their home in 2008 were underwater 50%? I know I was. My mortgage was $200,000-$300,000 higher than the value of my home. But you know what? I was a 10 when I bought it. And in other words, I was able to ride out the storm. And now my house is double the equity than it was, right? So if you don't have to sell it, just become a 10 buyer and know it. Don't let the noise around you affect you or talk you out of buying a home with interest rates that are 8%. I've got a property right now we bought during this market that's almost 8.75% because of the loan. It's a non-owner occupied, but the thing's making money. You know, the rents and stuff are up. So there's going to be a time to buy and a time not to buy. It's based on your personal circumstance. So here's what I know. Sellers want a buyer who's a 10. A seller needs a buyer who's going to perform today. And those buyers are a 10 buyer, regardless of interest rates, regardless of the market. So your scripts have to be, hey, you may not want to buy a home today, but wouldn't it be nice to know you could buy a home? That's a buyer that's sitting on the fence. A buyer who tells you, I'm going to wait. Okay, great. Well, what are you waiting for? Because if you're waiting for the prices to drop, you're going to miss every opportunity because you're not ready today. So let's get you ready. You need to be ready today, or at least what you know you could buy today. And let's focus on where you're going. Same with the seller. What's the seller going to do when they sell? So the scripts that I have everything we've heard. It's about the client's outcome. What is your outcome? Are you desperate to sell? That's different. Or are you wanting to take advantage of where you want to be when this market corrects again? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be in your current home and buy your own home back from today's rate, right? And everything today, you're buying your home back if you don't put it on the market because you have a goal to be somewhere. So where do you want to be when the market changes? It's a great question to ask people. Most people that want to sell today usually want to exit a higher price range, move down, move their equity around. That's the people I'm talking to. But then there are some people who just want to get in the game. And getting in the game today, getting into the market, well, here's what I know. It's never ready. You have to be ready for the market you're getting into. And then you do a consultation with them. Why are you buying? What's going on? What's new? And you want to build some trust with them. Because rapport will come, you guys, but trust is really hard to get. So in every conversation, I say, look for a nugget. A nugget is what you can build the trust upon. You know, whether it's school district change or I want to view or I'm retiring, whatever it is, focus on the nugget, help script yourself to understand that the trust comes from knowing the outcome of the client. And now you just help them become the best client they possibly can. And that's all going to be in how you talk to them and educate them and how you change up your understanding of what we've been hearing from everybody else is it's the outcome of the client. If I can attach myself to their outcome, then they're going to work with me all the way through the deal and then hopefully into more. That's it.
That's awesome. Love it. Good stuff. Porschman, Dennis.
Hey everyone, how's it going this morning? A lot of good nuggets here. Mitch, on a sidebar, I think we should do one of these calls on USPs. Matt Bad is a pro at it. I'm pretty good at it too. So, you know, a lot of people are probably scared of some of these USPs. Matt was saying, you know, buy your home in a year and all that kind of stuff. You know, the trick to that, just real quick, everybody that's listening, if you don't know, there's always conditions in there that pretty much preclude you from doing it. So in a nutshell, that's the way that works. But, you know, to Matt's point and to everybody else's point, you know, we all agree that there's a lot of realtors out there, right? We have competition more than ever right now. Okay. So what you always ask yourself this question in business, why would anybody do business with you over anybody else? Like, why would they pick you over the other 1,000 people out there? You have to have something that's unique, right? Like a unique selling proposition. If you don't, then you really have nothing to say. So I added my buyer script in here, you guys. And I'm not going to go through it with you, but this is a good buyer script that we came up with. And basically it just tells the buyers that we have access to off-market properties. That's our unique selling proposition, right? If we just tell them that just go look on Zillow, or I'm just like every other realtor, I'll send you listings as they come on. They don't want to deal with me. So I catch buyers at open houses. This is the moneymaker right here, guys. You just have to show them and be honest with it that you can find off-market properties. And we do. We send out letters. There's a lot of different things that we do, and we detail it in that script. So I would encourage everybody to read that script over, you know, modify if you don't like exactly the way it reads. But what Dave Lawson was saying is really, really critical. And this is what Brian Moses taught me a long time ago, is internalize the script, right? And what Brian called it was unconscious competence. It's kind of like walking. We don't have to think about walking, right? It just comes natural. Well, when you say a script, you should be able to just spit it out without thinking about it. If it sounds scripted, you're dead. Make it sound conversational. It's really, really critical. So, you know, there's buyer scripts, there's seller scripts. I use the old Craig Proctor seller script. Matt knows that this one well, you know, and it's basically these are for seller leads, you know, Mitch, and I'll roll it with you, Mitch, if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So, hey, Mitch, this is Dennis at eXp Realty. The reason I'm calling is you asked for evaluation of your property on our website, California Home Values. Are you thinking about making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Okay, good. Mitch, where would you be going if you decided to move?
I'm probably going to go to Florida because I heard they were the free state.
Oh yeah, Florida is great. My parents live there actually, but when do you think that might happen, Mitch?
We just been talking about it. You know, just taxes are getting high here, so we're really looking to save some money and move somewhere else.
Gotcha.
It could be 3 months. It could, 6 months. It just depends what the market's doing and when we get the most for our house.
Gotcha. Well, you know, if it's within 3 months, Mitch, you know, there's some things I can do for you. I can really actually for free. It's no obligation. I can come to your home and just give you some tips ahead of time. They'll probably give you tens of thousands of dollars more in your pocket. It's free, just really low cost fix up tips. I can give you some hands if you'd like. I could do that for you. But if it's longer than that, I'd love to follow back with you. And there's some other things I can give you as well that might help you long term. Would that be okay if I follow back with you a little bit later?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
I'm a
great.
little rusty because I haven't made these calls forever, but you get the idea. I've read that script 10 years ago so many times that, are you looking to buy are you looking to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Yes. Where you're going, that kind of stuff. So just internalizing, guys, that's the key. Make it sound conversational, like Dave Lawson was saying. And that's really the trick to scripts. I'm a big believer in scripts because I've had ISAs just like Mitch has had in the past. And I would listen to them because they'd be next to me. And every single time they're good for a while off the script, and then they start going off the script a little bit. And as soon as they go off the script, I can see exactly where they lost the person on the other line, like literally immediately. And then you have a conversation like, hey, the reason you lost that person is because you didn't say this here. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of important. So that's what I have.
Yeah, and there's two types of scripts, right? Like I said, Dennis, we've gone over this many times, and Brian, very, very scripted, but always internalized. Whereas my teachings has always been more bullet point, because I found that most people have a lot of trouble internalizing. So whatever's best for you, I guess, is my point. Is like Brian said, maybe turn around and take a script that Dennis is using, one of these buyer scripts, and tweak it a little bit to be yours. But I can tell you, knowing how successful Dennis has been doing it, probably internalize the scripts will probably kill your business, right? I mean, in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, you have to do that, right, to be successful. We've all had calls, right, from people where it's scripted and it's like, good Lord, get me off of this phone, and if I've had really good guys that I could tell are going off a script, but they're really smooth and they internalize it, and they start talking to you and they kind of got you. So
yeah. Hi, this is Mitch. Are you looking to sell your home sometime in the near
exactly.
future?
Exactly. So practice, guy, repetition. If you have a wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you got going, practice. If you're a little gun shy about doing it and about making the calls, just practice. It's the repetitions, right? Just practice, and do it over. Role play with yourself if you have to in a mirror. Just do it repetitively. You'll start internalizing it, and your business will do better, 100% for sure. There's no way it won't. So
yeah, and that's honestly everything that we talk about on here. It comes down to, if you do not practice your trade, you will not be good at your trade. Right. I mean, everything that I ever did, when I came up with something that worked, I mastered it. And I did the mirror. I'm a mirror guy. I like to talk in the mirror, and it's weird because I'd have these weird conversations, and my wife would walk and go, "What the hell are you doing?" But the reality is it is always better to do it with somebody else. The challenge of doing it with somebody else is the challenge. Make sure they are mean to you. Like, make sure they make it difficult. Don't just go, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll buy," and that doesn't really help you become good at what you're doing. Mr. Smith, Cameron, what's up, bud?
Hey guys, good morning. So everything's been awesome so far, man. Everything has been 100% like spot on. Matt, I can tell you are using those USPs, man, because they are smooth. And that's really the goal. When we talk about scripts, I have a Mike Perry script right here on my desk forever, right? So I obviously love scripts. I was started in scripts. But really, when we're talking about using scripts in our business, really what they're there to do is to help you build your confidence so that you'll get out and start doing the work, right? And the second part is what they do is they give you the objective, or they give you the idea, because you have to remember, I know a lot of us here on the panel, we know the idea, we know the objective of a call. But as an agent or a newer agent, sometimes that can be in question of, what am I trying to do? What is the point of this call? And I guess that's my next thing, is what is the objective of every single prospecting call? For me, and I'm gonna disagree a little bit with Brian here. I understood what he was saying, but for me, it is building rapport, and that's the same as building trust. I see those as one and the same. So my number one thing is I'm trying to build rapport. I'm trying to understand them. I'm trying to agree with them. I'm just trying to feel them out throughout the conversation, right? My second part of it is to find out exactly what they're looking for. So it's asking questions, simple as that. You're just asking questions to see what this client is trying to do, either buy or sell. The third part is trying to figure out their qualifications or disqualifications. And again, that's just asking questions. So conversation, we're asking a lot of questions here. And then the final part is setting an appointment or closing, which is not asking questions. That's doing our job and using what we have to offer to set the appointment. I love the STORY acronym. That was fantastic. I have a simpler one because story is too complicated for me. So I use the tried and true Ford, right? Like the motor company, Ford. and that's family. So ask them about their family, ask them about their occupation, ask them about their recreation. What do they do for fun? And then what is their dreams? And you'll find, you guys, it's very similar to what STORY, the acronym, is, just a little bit similar. And if you use those 4 topics, you can just about get anybody to start talking and start building that rapport with you. And that's really important, is obviously, like I said, building rapport is the #1 objective for what I do with my calling. Now, real quick, I know we're running short on time. We got a lot of panelists on today, which is super cool. But let's talk about how we have our conversation. We're going to break this down a little bit because this is something we haven't discussed yet. The overall way that is considered the best way to have a conversation is to ask a question, listen to the response of your client, and then respond with a positive. So no matter what they say, it's great, it's wonderful, awesome, that's fantastic. And then reply back with what they replied to. So you want to summarize it and give it back to them so that you are confirming with the client that you heard them correctly. And so that if you didn't hear them correctly, they can reconfirm with what they were trying to say, correct? So it's always ask a question, listen to their response, reply positively, and then repeat it back to them. The other thing too is remember that when you do reply back to them, in your inflections in your voice, if you finish with a high pitch, it sounds like a question. If you finish with a downswing, it sounds like a statement. So remember, high pitches, upswings, downswings are for statements. Less is always more. So you want to be doing the objectives here. They're always asking questions. It's not about you at all. You're asking questions throughout the entire conversation. And that is the objective. Now, when you do have a time to speak, like they were saying earlier, be direct. When you have time and you have something to say, you want to ask those questions directly, and that's going to be able to continue on the conversation, letting people talk about what they want to talk about, their dreams, their situations. So here are my couple quick scripts. These are what I use on every single lead. First off is whenever a new lead comes to us, before we reach out to them by phone, we always send a video text, and it's a super simple video text. Hey, it's Cam. I just wanted to personally reach out to you. I'm available for a short phone call in the next 3 to 5 minutes. If you are, I'd love to chat with you. And then just send that over to them. That's it. That's as simple as it is. That has made our conversion rates skyrocket, you guys. People do not pick up the phone anymore. They just don't. But when you send them that text beforehand with your face on a video, I recommend maybe you put a little bit of energy on having a pretty wall behind you if you're going to be working this as your business. It has churned our pickup rates, like quadrupled them. So I highly recommend doing that. For all of my buyer calls, the initial script, which is what I say every single time, goes like this, which is, hey, client, this is Cam Smith with EXP. I saw you were just whatever they were on my website, through Facebook, through Zillow, whatever it may be. And I just really wanted to personally reach out to you and see, exactly how I can help you with your real estate needs. That's how I open every call. Simple as that. That's it. And they're going to say, oh my God, it's so great. Thank you so much for calling, blah, right? And then that's that listen, less is more, listen very intently. And then you can kind of branch off with what they were saying. Just like Mitch was saying here a few minutes ago, he wanted to save money. It was all about money to him, right? Taxes are too high in California, Florida, it's cheaper. You can go down that avenue with Mitch just by listening to one question. And that's exactly how you start that off. Now for sellers, my seller script is a little bit different. It goes, hey, whatever the seller's name is, hi seller, whatever you want. It's Cam Smith. I'm a local real estate professional here in the area. And if it's for an expired for sale by owner, one of those kind of things, it always goes. And the reason I was reaching out is I just sold a home down the street from you, and we had tremendous interest in this property. We had actually multiple offers on it. We sold it for more than I even thought we could. And I saw that your home just came up, or just put a for sale, but whatever it is, whatever the reason that you're reaching out to them. And I wanted to see if your home would be a good fit for any of my clients. And then again, listen to what they say, and then can you create the conversation from there. For my online leads, it says it's a little bit different. Obviously, you can't say you just sold a home because they're not local, they're online. So my online leads, it's always, I saw you were just on my website, you were looking for a professional price opinion. I would love to do that for you, but how I do it is very detailed. It's more like an appraiser So I would love to come out and see your home if that's a possibility. Sometimes they say no, but sometimes they say yes. But what it is, it's a quick close that you get about a 30% yes rate because you're trying to do an honest, awesome appraisal for them, which is what they ask for on your website. I just want to do the best I can. Do you mind if I come out? If they say no, again, no, hey, that's no problem. I can do it digitally. They're just not as accurate. Well, tell me again. And then the script, you guys, it's simple. Where are you going? How soon do you want to be there? If you couldn't sell your home, what would that look like? How much do you owe on the property? So forth and so forth. Those are the objections after you build rapport, after you do your intro. But those are what I use, you guys. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. No matter where you are in your script, you can always put those in and get the conversation going, get the client back on your side, and then just jump back into one of the questions that we're trying to get to is, where are you going? How soon do you want to be there? What's taking you there? If you couldn't sell your home, what would you do? So forth and so forth. So I think that's all I have for you guys. Oh, one more thing. Hold on. Every phone call, every prospecting call is a completely fresh start. Okay. So important. So important. I've been berated. I've been hung up on. I've been told I'm worthless. Click. And then I have a little mirror on my desk. I recommend you guys have a little mirror as well. Look in your mirror, look at yourself in the eye, smile, and then take that next phone call. And if you're smiling on the phone, you'll hear it. Every call though is a fresh start. And if you're not taking it that way, you're going to be in the dumps because one bad call will ruin your whole day. But that's all I got.
Great stuff. Good job, Cam. You always have, it's so funny because like I'm so opposite of Cam when it came to selling houses. And I've sold so many homes, but I like, go buy a house. Let's have fun.
Hey, Mitch, let me, so Cameron, I what you were saying was perfect. And I think maybe my confusion, when you said to them, you confirmed and you repeated to them, that's trust, not rapport. That's what I'm talking about. When you hear somebody and you hear it and repeat it back to them, they just heard something they gave you. That's trust. That's not rapport. That's all I wanted to say.
You're absolutely 100% right. And that's what I was saying. I think you were right. And I was just using the rapport word wrong there. And it's one and the same. The way that I was saying rapport is truly trust. And you were spot on.
All right,
Either
Randy. Yeah, Randy.
All right, well, so I'll always take a different angle. So for example, like tonight I'm doing a mastermind for my investor sphere, right? That I have, and I've been nurturing for, gosh, a decade now, probably. So my conversation to them, because I need to encourage them of why this is the good time to buy, right? So if I'm speaking to an investor, the common objection they're going to have in their mind is like, oh my goodness, like market is going to go down. No one's going to be buying right now. Interest rates are so high. Like, what am I, especially the newer investors, right? The seasoned ones, they know that market goes up and down, they can make money. Like the company that I used to run, they keep buying. CT Homes doesn't stop buying. They adjust their underwriting. That's all they do. So my conversation with my investors right now, the newer ones especially, is giving them confidence in the market and letting them know, how are we going to change our underwriting and how is their communication change when they are speaking to realtors when they're about to submit an offer. And they can't assume that the realtors they're speaking to understand all the data and the market fluctuations like we do, because I'm teaching you. Because there's a lot of brand new agents out there that don't have a clue what's happening, right? So I teach my investors to actually own the data, learn it, and I'm one of the people that helps them here in Southern California understand the data, and I give them the stats so they can actually use the stats when they're about to submit an offer on a property that's distressed that they're trying to buy. Because if let's say, for example, if they're speaking to a listing agent about submitting an offer on their listing that needs a lot of work, and that listing agent feels like that after repair value on that property is 700, but really we're using 660, we're off by 40 grand right there already before we even submit an offer. And that's how investors make their buying decisions. Well, what is my after repair value in 6 months from now? Based on that, I'm going to make my decision. After repairs, I deduct those, and then I decide what my holding costs are, and then I'm going to submit an offer. So if you're having a conversation as an investor, I tell them, and you're speaking to a listing agent and they think the ARV after repair value is 700 and you think it's 660, good luck trying to get your offer accepted. Like, you're off on the wrong foot right there. They're gonna laugh at you even more, right? They already think you're gonna come in with a low offer. Now they're gonna be like, oh, here we go again, lowball offer. But it's because you didn't get an alignment with the agent about what is the market actually doing and where is it going in 6 months. So these are the conversations I'm having with investors right now that are coming to me and say, Randy, I'm a little nervous right now of doing anything, like, because I don't know what's going to happen. Well, great. Neither do I, but I'm going to take the data and I'm going to leverage it to negotiate an offer that makes sense for me today. And it will still make me money 6 months from now, even if the market goes down, because I'm also telling them to take a 5 to 10% decrease in the after repair value based on the prediction of where the market is going. And I can again show them stats. Call the pendings. Where is the pendings pending at? That's telling us where the market is going. Use those in your conversations with listing agents when you're about to submit that offer on their distressed property, because they're not doing that. They're not calling the pendings. They don't care. They're listing a home. They just want an offer. That's it. So it's up to you to educate that agent so they can then take all that data and provide it with your offer to the seller in a way where your offer actually makes a ton of sense right now, right? So that's kind of the arena I play with when I speak to investors. And because if I get them to do more deals, most of them end up listing with me. And that's kind of how I get my business, right? If I get them more productive and keep them in the game of flipping, Randy and the team gets listings and more opportunities. So those are the conversations. Now, if I'm speaking to a buyer, which is my favorite line, and David touched upon this. Oh no, Dennis did. Dennis gave us a good script. So I use something very similar because of my relationships I build with investors. I have access to off-market inventory, and I've said this to you guys before. It is so simple to build relationships with a few solid investors. And once you do, you instantly have access to off-market properties, kind of like what Dennis's script says right here. And, you know, Dennis's script goes into a lot of like, oh, I do a lot of mailers, I do a lot of things. This is how I get a lot of people that might be interested in selling. If you're not doing any of that, well, then don't lie, right? But how can you cut through all that? How can you have access to off-market properties tomorrow? Build relationships, reach out to a few investors, and you'll have access to off-market properties literally next week, because they are going to be a lot more. Actually, now as the market is turning, those investors are going to really want to talk to you right now, because they know that if you can bring them buyers before they even go to market, it's going to save them thousands of dollars on holding costs, on staging costs, where those conversations were a little tougher maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, where the investors were like, well, no, I don't want to sell it off market because I'm going to put it on a market and get multiple bids. The conversation is changing, where the investors are willing to work with you more than ever. So it's really easy to get a few investors in your back pocket and say to the buyer that you meet on an open house, oh, by the way, I have access to off-market inventory, the things that, you know, most agents will not have unless they have these relationships, and most don't. It's with investors. And here's how I network with them. And here's, you know, what I mean by off-market. When they're rehabbing properties, no one knows about them except the person that knows the investor. And I know all the big ones in my market. Would you be interested in seeing some of those properties that they're working on? And maybe we can put a match together. Would that interest you, Mr. Buyer? And no one's going to say no. And at that point, you got them, because the moment they walk out of that open house and they don't leave their information for you to reach out, they know they will not have access to the off-market properties anymore. And it works if you do it correctly, and then work that in with Dennis's, and every buyer, I'm telling you, is going to really be excited to work with you.
That's cool. Great stuff. All right, we got just a few minutes here. We got 2 people to go, so we're going to go Karina. So I keep this to about 3 minutes or so, and then Bobby, let's finish it out. I know it's tough, but you know, we only have 6 minutes.
I can do it. I'll put the Jersey speed on my voice instead of Florida slow. So I'm not going to go over the scripts since everybody has brought on like great scripts. I'm going to tell you how to make yourself different. And it is to learn scripts, but make them conversational. So I am very scripted, but it's all in conversation. You would never know I had a script, but it's the same dang thing that I say to every buyer, every seller, every tenant, and every investor, right? Each one has its own little path that I'm going to take them down. But I'm also not so rigid that I can't bend with the conversation. So you want to bend with your conversation so you don't sound robotic or like Mitch was doing, like like you're reading off of a piece of paper. And when you do that, you will build your trust and rapport even faster. A couple things that I'm working on right now is there's a 2-to-1 buy down that you can script out to talk to your buyers and your sellers. So I'm talking to my sellers right now. Where we're at in Florida, things are definitely a little stagnant. A lot of things are sitting longer than they have been. So I had a really beautiful waterfront property, perfectly priced. We've already dropped it 40,000 in a week. We finally have our first showing today, and they are going to be doing a 2.21 buy down, and it's going to cost them approximately 2 to 3%. So if a seller pushes back, the script is you can, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, you can either continue to drop your price, or you can kick a little bit more in and make it more affordable for the buyers to be able to afford your property. And that'll get them in the 5s instead of the 8s. And then on the sellers, part of the script is your mortgage assumable? Remember that question. There's so many mortgages that are assumable. Someone might have to come up with a second loan to pay them $400,000 to make the difference up, but the other loan will be at 3% or 4%. So you can help your buyers get a better deal over the long haul. So that's another one in our script. And then the renter opportunities are unlimited. Renters get 0 back. We were just having a chat on this chat today. I've had 3 conversations today and yesterday between the 2 days with renters. I'm going after renters, high-end renters, because they get 0 write-off. If you're paying 8%, I want that 8% for a write-off. I get to write it off at the end of the year. If you're a tenant, you get 0. The landlord gets the write-off. And you're paying 25, 28% on your credit cards, right? Why would you complain about 7 to 8% on your mortgage that you get to write it off? You can't write off your credit cards. And right now there's a study that I just read that most people are over credited out on their credit cards, and they're paying the highest interest rate than we have in decades. So that's another good one. But the biggest thing is be conversational, stand apart, tell your people that they not only get you, they're getting your big network of people too when they choose you. Find those little things that makes a big deal. Tell them you over communicate. The big thing people complain about to NARs, realtors don't communicate, they don't negotiate. Tell them that you're great at both and stand out that simply, and you won't lose.
Cool. Awesome. Bobby, take it home, buddy.
All right, sounds good, everybody. So Brian, I'm a lot like you. I learned the scripts not so that I can necessarily use them, but use them to my advantage. I would always educate sellers and buyers on what realtors will say to you to sell you. I'm not that way. I'm here to build a lifelong relationship with you, is what I always tell people. If you know the difference between right and wrong, then you'll always navigate through scripts very easily. Make sure you don't have commission breath. You should always be caring about them, building the trust, building the rapport. If you haven't heard of Jeremy Miner, nepqtraining.com. One of my guys just went through it. He went from like literally barely like understanding the process to now he's like killing it. He's setting appointments left and right. So Jeremy Miner. I am putting in the chat right now a script. Who wants to do a quick role play with me just to set a quick appointment? And I want you to hit me with I got a 3% rate. Who wants
I'll do it
to?
with you, Bobby.
All right. So one thing, when you're calling people, you got to make sure you tell them why you're calling and who you are before you shut up. I hate this. Like when people call me, they say, "Oh, hi, is this Bobby?" Yes, this is Bobby. Hi, how are you today? Bullshit. I'm hanging up on you. You got to make sure you tell them who you are and why you're calling. So ring, ring. Hello, is this Karina?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Karina. My name is Bobby Martins with Move Up San Diego. And you actually just went to our website and you asked for some information about our new listing on Torrey Pines. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Do you have just a couple of moments so I can talk to you a little bit about this property?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very interested in the property.
Excellent, excellent. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions to get a better understanding of your situation?
Sounds great.
Excellent. Do you currently own or do you rent?
Right now I'm renting.
By the way, I wouldn't normally go this fast, but we're
That's
trying.
okay.
Okay. So you're an owner because you're about to hit me with the
Oh,
3%.
okay. I'm an owner.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes, I'm an
Okay,
owner.
so you own a property. Great. Do you need to sell that home before purchasing?
Depends on probably the price points. If we
Got
can,
it, got
we
it.
might be able to do it without, we might have to sell it.
Perfect. And do you know the most recent value?
Just from what I could see on Zillow,
Okay.
but I don't know if that's correct or not.
Yeah. Yeah, some people say absolutely not. I'm one of them, but we'll talk more about that later. What's motivating you to make a move right now?
We need more space.
Excellent. Okay, so more space. And how soon are you looking to move?
I'd like to probably do this right either before the holidays or right after the holidays.
Okay. And is there anybody else going to be part of the decision-making process?
Oh, no, I'm a strong woman. I'm the decision maker.
Oh,
Don't worry about the husband.
fantastic. I love it. I love it. You sound like my wife. So how are you finding properties right now? Are you actively looking?
I am actively looking and I get emails from some realtors. I'm looking online.
Okay,
There's like 9,000 apps. So they just kind of keep going and taking me to different places.
excellent. And now I know that you are trying to get moved after the holidays. Would it be okay if I came over and take a look at the house?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay. Now, are there any concerns that you have about making the move?
Yes, I really like my 3% mortgage that I have right now. And that is
Okay.
definitely, I'm watching what's going on in the news and it's giving me a little agita.
Okay, well, excellent. I totally understand. Going from 3 to 7 or 3 to 8 is a challenge. We'll talk in detail about some things that we can do to kind of avoid that big sticker shock, including maybe keeping your home. So instead of getting rid of your 3%, maybe we figure out a way to keep your home and you buy another home with maybe some kind of arm for 5 years or so that can get you a lower rate, maybe in the 6s. Does that sound okay?
I'd be interested in talking about that.
Okay. Just so you know, I'm always a big believer in creating wealth through real estate. So if there is a way for you to keep your house, I will definitely help you every which way I can. We actually have 10 different ways we can help you buy and sell. So I look forward to meeting you. Would tomorrow at 2 or 4 work for you?
2 is better.
Fantastic. And would you, any other decision makers are going to be there? I know you're the main one, but.
No,
like,
really, I am the only one. There's no
the
husband.
only one. Okay. Excellent. All right. So sometimes, we show up and then there's another person we have to talk to later. And so we like to
I
avoid
totally
that if
understand you,
possible.
but no, just me.
Okay. Fantastic. We'll see you tomorrow at 2. All right.
Thank you. Nice talking to you,
That's
Bobby.
All right.
That was awesome. We are out of town here, guys, but
Yep.
all right, what a great way to wrap it up. We have to do another round of this next week because this is all such good stuff, and I got some
Yeah.
good ones to tell you.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bobby was just getting warmed up. We got to get him
Yeah.
back.
I know. So maybe we'll start off next week with that.
Check out Jeremy. Jeremy Miner. He's legit.
Cool. Good night, guys.
NEPQ.
What was that?
NEPQ.
Yes.
Yes, and-
NEPQtraining.com.
All right.
Very similar to NLP. Does a lot of takeaway closes. He's very smooth training. Some of the best I've seen.
NLP is phenomenal. If it's anything like that, it's great. So,
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna let everybody go. We're 3 minutes over.
All right,
Thank you,
guys.
everybody.
I just want to add, Jeremy Miner's training is going on right now. It's today from 3 to 5 Pacific, if anybody's interested in doing it. It started 2 days ago. This is day 3. It's amazing stuff. The whole team's doing it. So if you guys can
Great.
jump on it, definitely do it.
How do I get on?
I will put the link in here, the Zoom link for it. Let me just grab it from my calendar really quick, and I will throw it in here so you guys can get on it.
Yeah, then just keep the Zoom open for another couple minutes so people can copy that, Jay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thanks
Yeah,
for
I gotta hop. I got
helping me
1
with
o'clock and
that,
wait for this.
Ray.
I'll
All
see you
right,
guys
I
next.
just added it.
All right, you guys. Great job, everyone. Bobby, your hair looks good.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a great day, you all.
Matt, it's great seeing you.
Thank you
Bring it
so
on,
much.
David.
I felt like, not the same today. Nobody mentioned anything about it. Thank you so much, Cam.
I love you, brother. Have a good one, guys. See ya.